Hello, Internet! I'm Elliot the Purple Air Doofus, and welcome back to The Wastelands by Stephen King. Today we're covering up to part 23 of Bridge and City. I hope you've read up to that point, because I do not want to ruin anything for you. Roland and his band of travelers, as Stephen King likes to call them, are still walking towards the city to catch the train. And along their journey, they come across a World War II airplane. This is where it's alluded to that maybe the plane just flew through a portal in mid-air that's constantly open and landed there. Especially because the pilot isn't mummified, but not just completely dust, because if he had been there since World War II, he would be nothing but dust. Roland and his friends investigate the plane, and then they just keep on moving. And then they start talking about riddles, and exchanging riddles. And Roland talks about how important riddles were when he was young, when he was training to be a gunslinger. All of his friends used to have riddle battles. Eddie tells a joke that he thinks is a riddle, but it's a dead baby joke. Roland gets really mad at him because Roland takes his riddles very seriously. And the dead baby joke is complete nonsense. One night, Roland decides that he's going to set up a night watch so that him, Eddie, and Susanna will watch for stuff while everyone's sleeping in shifts, of course. Eddie asks what they're looking for, and Roland says, I don't know, but once you see it, you will. And Eddie is the first to stand watch, and nothing happens. The next day, they keep on moving, and they come across a beehive. Roland's like, alright, we're going to have dessert. But once they get to the beehive, they find that the bees are mutated. They are completely white, and Roland says, if we eat this honey, we will die. So we will not eat this honey. And they continue to walk, and Eddie just finally flat out asks, okay, Roland, you have to tell us about your past. You have to tell us about your childhood. You have to tell us about becoming a gunslinger. You have to tell us everything that we're asking about, because this is getting ridiculous. I'm kind of tired of the mystery. And Roland's like, all in good time. Again, he gives the Doctor Who answer. I'll answer later. The four of them and the little pet Oi reach the bridge that is supposed to cross the river, and they find that the bridge is falling apart. They have a little conversation over whether or not they should actually use the bridge or try and find some other way across the river. Eddie is the only one that's kind of terrified of crossing the bridge. Susanna is pretty much like, I'm just along for the ride. Roland is like, it's the fastest way across, so let's do that. And Jake is just kind of like, hey, I got this. And so they start crossing the bridge, and they come across a hole in the bridge. So they have to go across one at a time. And Roland goes first, and he's across with Susanna on his back. Jake starts crossing, and about midway across the hole, he finds that he forgot Oi. And he starts calling for Oi. And there's this whole situation where Jake is hanging by one hand while Oi has bitten into his other hand, and he's just kind of swinging. Everyone's just kind of like, you're an idiot! Yep! That's what kids do to a story. They become the idiot of the story. The entire time, Eddie is just kind of gripping onto a handrail for dear life, even though he's still standing on concrete. He's like, I don't want to move, I don't want to move, I don't want to move, I don't want to move. And eventually, Jake and Oi get across the hole. But once they do, they run into the Pirate of the Apocalypse. And I use this name jokingly, but the guy is pretty much a pirate who is suffering from the illness of the time with purple sores all over his face. This guy has a grenade, and he's going to use it to blow up our band of good guys if they don't give him Jake. Roland lets Jake go. The pirate runs off with him. Eddie gets across the hole. Eddie and Susanna split off, and Roland goes after the pirate and Jake. Jake is dragged along by the Pirate of the Apocalypse, and he is dragged through this cavern-like area that's almost a maze, a dark, dark maze that is filled with booby traps. Roland and Oi, the little pet animal thing, are following after him. Oi is actually using his scent, Jake's scent, to track him. Eddie and Susanna reach the city, and they find it just as desolate as a zombie film. There is no one around, and, you know, plants are overgrowing the windowless buildings, and it's just kind of like, this is pretty much what I expected from a dystopia. Roland almost gets tripped up by one of the tripwires. The Pirate of the Apocalypse has Jake, and he's talking about the TikTok man, who I haven't met yet. Eddie and Susanna are still walking through the city when they come across a little boy. Little boy's like, come here, I have something for you. And Eddie and Susanna are like, no, no, you're not a little boy. And the little boy pulls a grenade out from behind his back, and Susanna shoots him dead. Then there is like this whole horde of people that come around. And after Eddie and Susanna find out that this little boy wasn't a little boy, but a little person, an older little person dressed up as a little boy to trick Eddie and Susanna. And then all these people come and they're like, we're going to kill you because you're not one of us. And it's just like the dystopian war that you've always worried about. And there's the shootout between the two of them. Eddie and Susanna are the heroes, so they come out unscathed, while I think like 5 or 6 of those people, like 10 or 12 that ran around the corner, die. They have a little conversation, and Eddie and Susanna convince the people to take them to the train station. The people think that they want to meet up with a guy named Blaine, but all the way leading up to this, Jake has referred to Blaine as the bad train from the children's book. So that's going to be a little curious once they figure out what exactly is going on there. Jake is being dragged along by the Pirate of the Apocalypse, and he begs for his life. And Roland is following right behind them. That is pretty much where our story ends for now. Tomorrow we will finish this story, so read up on that. Do not forget that the next book that I will be reading is The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. Go out and grab it by any legal means necessary. Borrow it from a library, borrow it from a friend, buy it at a bookstore, buy it on a Kindle. I don't care what you do as long as it's legal and you read it before I ruin it for you. I've been Elliot the Purple Hair Doofus, reminding you to watch your pajamas, and I will see you all in the next section of The Wastelands by Stephen King. Toodles!